Hi, my name is Nubia Serino, and this is the sheep brain dissection for Psychology 4353, Physiological Psychology. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking out the sheep brain. I have it here, and I'll be placing it in this styrofoam. It does have a strong odor. Okay, here it is. So just to go over the recap, this has two hemispheres, which is the two top parts. So the brain does split into two. And we have the cerebrium, which is here between the front, and the cerebellum, which is mostly towards the back. And here's the brain. Our two hemispheres. They're divided here by the center. And this is our cerebrium, which we have the rigids. And then we also have the cerebellum here in the back. That's the cerebellum. This is part of the spinal cord. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get my scalpel and cut it in half. Here it is, cutting in half. Try and get a little closer. There it is. And all right. So I'm going to start off first going over the superior coliseum. And that superior coliseum is going to be right here around this area. And that's just a multi-layered structure which integrates information to control the eye and the head movement. Moving on, we're going to go to the inferior. And that inferior is just right underneath here. And that's just the body's auditory center. It processes all the hearing signals pretty much. Then our pineal gland. And our pineal gland is going to be just here to the side. And this is where it stores important hormones. It gives the example, of course, that those hormones are melatonin. Okay, we're moving over to the corpus callus, which is this part here. Yeah, it's around this area here. And the corpus callus, it's a bundle of fibers that connect both hemispheres of the brain. It also transfers information between both hemispheres to process sensory and motor cognitive skills. Okay. And then we're going to go over to the humerus, which is right up here. It's around this area here. It's more towards the top. And this explains that it's the brain function which allows brain surface areas, allows neurons to be presented. Then we have the sulcus, and that's just the grooves, these right here. The grooves between the brain, the gray brain. Okay. And we have the, next it's the olfactory bulb. And that should be more towards the bottom. It should be around this area here. course, the olfactory bulb contains cells and bodies of neurons that synapse with neurons of the olfactory nerves. Then we have our thalamus, and our thalamus is more towards on top of that, and that's the sensory relay center. And most sensory nerve centers in their impulse are sent to the appropriate cerebral region. If we go over to the hypothalamus, it's going to be underneath. So the thalamus is more towards the top, and then the hypothalamus is more towards the bottom. And the hypothalamus, it's the maintain homeostasis of internal balance by keeping the body stable. Moving over, of course, we got the pons, and that's more towards the bottom here. And the pons are known to contain nerve tracts that connect the cerebellum with the brain spinal cord. Keeping in mind that the cerebellum is here, spinal cord is here, so this pretty much is what keeps it together. From there, of course, we go over to the medulla, and that's going to be more towards the bottom here. So we have the other one up here. We have the pons around this area, and then the medulla comes down this way. And on the medulla, it contains centers for heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory. It also contains reflex centers controlling coughing, sneezing, and hiccups. And that's going to be more towards the bottom here on this medulla part. Of course, then we have the spinal cord, which is this area here. And the spinal cord, as the brain was like this before, right? We explained this is attached to the spinal cord. So between the spinal cord, the spinal cord goes down, and we got the brain on top. So this is where there's that motor connection between the brain and the body, that sensory information, it comes back and forth, it coordinates reflex. So this area right here is known to be the spinal cord, which is connected to the brain, and it's how it sends those signals back and forth. If you can see closely, this looks like a little tree. It's known as the arborvitae, and that provides sensory and motor information to and from the cerebellum. It looks like a little tree. Hopefully you can see it there. But that's pretty much what sends that information between the motor information to the cerebellum. And then we have the cerebellum, which is this area here. And the cerebellum does control balance and muscles, and it coordinates, which include motor movements. So as I had explained at the beginning, our brain has two hemispheres, and which I did cut right in the center in between. And it does have the cerebrium, which is this part. We got the cerebellum, we got the spinal cord, and then we have our gyrus or sulcus, which is like the grip of the brain. And then of course we cut it in half, and we were able to see the inside part of it. I find this very interesting, as it does look a lot like a brain, a human brain, sorry. Let's cut it here in half. Let's see here how it looks. So we're able to see everything that is connected. It seems like majority of hearing, vision, and scent, it's mostly within this part here, right? Those three senses are here. And then touch, it's mostly towards down our spinal cord. Okay, well, my name is Nubia Serino, and this was for Psychology 4353, was dissecting a sheep brain, which is very similar to a human brain. And this would be all. Thanks for your time.